Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Potential Unleashed, back with another video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the Classroom of Elite Light Novels, specifically the first book. This is the first book review. As you guys can see, I have the book, so we're going to talk about it. And so I have every book that is out. I have 10 total books. I have up to volume 8 because that's what came out recently, I believe June 22nd. And so I'll be giving my thoughts on each individual book once a week, because the anime, they changed the light novels and anime version a lot, where they adapted about 4 books and they changed quite a lot actually. And so because there's more likely not going to be a season 2, I decided to pick up the light novels, where I give the anime about a 9 out of 10, the light novels a 10 out of 10. It's my favorite of the light novel / manga series. And because the anime only adapted about 4 books, for the first 4.5 reviews, I will only be able to include scenes from the anime for those series, and after that, it'll probably just be me talking. But if you guys enjoy videos like these, then make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. And I suggest, if you guys do have the money in order to buy the books, I suggest you do the Kindle version. I believe it's $8.99 or $9.99. But personally, I like having hard copies, like collecting things. So each individual book was about $13.99. But with that out of the way, my name is Potential Unleashed, and let's get into the review for Classroom of the Elite, Volume 1. So 2 of Anya Koji's biggest goals are to see if people are created equal. He's talking about the Japan society, and he's really trying to find out his purpose in life, because he's a genius. He doesn't know all, but he's pretty smart, and well, he doesn't really have to try. And so I'm not going to really get into that, because the later we get into books, the later books, probably around book 5 or so, that's when he starts going after those goals, and we see that open up more often, and it was just introduced in book 1, so we're not really going to get into that here. So one of the big differences is that, well, since we're reading a book instead of watching an anime, the author can portray someone's inner thoughts more, because they don't have much constraint, and we actually do get to see Anya Koji a little bit more. It shows that he's interested in women. He likes looking at how they look on the outside, their faces. You know, he notices Harikta is a beauty, same with Kushida and some other characters. He also analyzes their personalities, right? If they're disgusting, or if they're nice, or they have a good personality. And then he is also shown to be attracted to their outward appearances, their body proportions, if you will. And then the way he made his first friends were a little different. The scene with the convenience store changed a little bit. He was there, bumped into Harikta there, but he also was able to save Suda there, where that's where him and Suda became friends. And then people like Ike and Yumagachi, I believe that's how you pronounce it, they ended up being friends as well earlier in this series. In the first couple of chapters, they made group chats, etc. In the anime, it was more like he just was forced to be their friends, where in the manga, or where in the light novels, I'm sorry, he ended up, it was more casual, or more, it was fleshed out, if you will. So there are 2 scenes that are left out of the anime version. In the light novels, Harikta and Anya Koji, they actually go to look at clubs. Not that they join any clubs, they just want to see what the school had to offer. Anya Koji's purpose, he wants to become friends and have friends and be more of an open person. And so we actually are introduced to Harikta Manabu. We don't know who he is, but this is where we first are introduced to him. We see Harikta, she freezes at a tall guy with glasses who is the student council president, and then Koji notices. She asks her what it's about. However, she doesn't respond, but we also get introduced to him a little bit later, but this is his first introduction, and it was left out of the anime. And then there's also swimming class that they competed for in order to get private points. And so this is where we see Ike Yumachi, I think that's how you pronounce it. I always mess it up. Pseudo, the professor, and a lot of other characters are introduced, where they are debating and they are placing bets on the female characters, or the women in the class, their body proportions. Not going to get into that too much. They got slandered a little bit. They got caught. However, later we then see Anya Koji and a lot of other characters, they swim. We saw people like Koenji, Kushida, Hirata, Harikta, Pseudo. I believe those are some notable characters who placed very well in the swim meets. And then we also see Harikta, she compliments Anya Koji's body, saying, does he work out? He said he was just naturally born like that, and she went on about her merry way, same as in the anime. However, he has a conversation with Kushida. She compliments him as well. And Enya Koji, we don't see this in the anime, right? Like I said, the light novels, they are longer, they're more fleshed out. It shows that Enya Koji is, when he's talking to Kushida, because she is very beautiful and she is a very all-around perfect girl, if you will. His face gets red, his chest starts hurting, his heart starts pumping, and he's a little bit nervous. So it shows that he likes or is shown a little bit of interest in Kushida. And Kushida, she also said that Enya Koji's body, it rivals someone like Sudo, and we know that Sudo is an athlete. I believe he plays basketball, so that's a very good compliment, and it shows what Enya Koji, well, his life before, it couldn't have just been that he was naturally genetic. So then there's the Paletti scene where Kushida and Enya Koji are scheming and trying to get Haruka to be the friend. It's still the same, roughly a little bit of details here and there, but I'm not going to get into that. Roughly the same. And Haruka, she's still upset. And at the same time, there's always the narrative throughout the entire light novels about, does Enya Koji go out with Haruka? A lot of female characters, which I'll talk about a little bit later, you guys will understand why I'm saying this, who show interest to Enya Koji. I always ask, what about Haruka? And he's like, well, Haruka, she's just a girl I sit next to in class. And we have the point system. In the anime, there was this scene where the students, they were upset because they didn't get their 100,000 points each month, and so it's the same with deductions, the same in how you get more points, class points, all that explained, where if you sleep in class, if you're late to class, all that stuff, and class D, that they're considered failures. So nothing really from that changed. And then Enya Koji, he was called into the office. He's supposed to be meeting Chibashira Sensei, and then he runs into Hoshi Moya Sensei. She is the class B homeroom teacher, if you will, and so she seemed kind of interested in Enya Koji. She's checking him out, asking him about his body, asking him about, does he have a girlfriend, saying that, well, he's kind of cute, and that if I were in your class, well, I wouldn't be able to keep my eyes and hands off you. And then he runs into a girl with pink hair from class B, and I won't drop the name just yet because, well, he didn't know who she was yet. And then we go in the office, he talks to Chibashira Sensei, and then she tells him to go to the back, where Haruka comes in, trying to figure out why she's in class 1D instead of class 1A, because she thinks that she doesn't have any defects, and we all know her biggest defect is that she can't interact with people. If she could interact with people on the level of someone like Kushida or Hirata, then she would be easily in class A. But Chibashira Sensei, she doesn't explain that to her, she just tells her she has to figure it out. She calls in Enya Koji, and this is where Haruka gets her suspicions of him, because this is where Chibashira Sensei lays out the groundwork that Enya Koji, he got 50s on all his exams, and we know that there's no possible way that you get 50s on all your exams without a coincidence. So like I said, Haruka, she has her suspicions that Enya Koji is purposely holding himself back. So with the study sessions, Ike, Kushida, Yumachi, Sudo, all of them, they're included, except for there's a character, his name is Okitani. He is introduced because that is how Kushida is able to be in the study group. As we know, Haruka does not like Kushida, and she doesn't want her to be there. And then there's the falling out. We know Sudo got upset, stormed out, everybody else left. Kushida left. And what difference happened in the anime and the manga? Originally, after the test, the midterm was over, Enya Koji noticed Kushida left her phone, went to go give it to her, and that's when he noticed her personality. However, in this situation, she just left, and Enya Koji wanted to thank her for all the hard work that she did gathering everybody in together, and he bumped into her on the roof, and when he tried to leave, he hit the door, and that's when she trapped him and was blackmailing him so that he couldn't spill the beans about her double or her other side of her personality. And it's shown that Enya Koji, he joins group chats. There are group chats with Sudo, Ike, Yumachi, etc. There's some other people in there, and they talk about how Haruka is being a jerk, how they should bully her, and all of that. And then there's the scene where we're going to talk about the student council president, Manabu. It's pretty much the same as the anime. You know, Enya Koji, he stops on him about to hurt his sister. He dodges attacks. The president, he shows interest in him, saying that, oh, well, you got 50s on your entrance exams, and you just got a 50 on the test or the midterm or the short quiz or whatever, not the midterm yet. It's like a quiz that they just took, and so he talked about it being a coincidence again. However, the only difference is instead of in the anime where he was at the vending machine, ran into him on accident, in this situation he actually followed Harita and was watching from the shadows and only came out when, well, stuff got bad. And so Enya, Koji, and Kushida, they went to go eat lunch together, and this is where we get introduced to the hot guy rankings. Out of everybody, not just his class, but A through D, Enya Koji ranked 5th. I believe, I don't remember who was first. I know Hirata placed 2nd, but the reason why Enya Koji is so high, but couldn't be any higher, is because of his personality. He doesn't stand out, and he's very quiet, so some people see him as boring and nothing really appealing to him. But in terms of overall looks, everybody says that Enya Koji is attractive. And so they were able to get another study session happening, and this is where people in class A and C, they were making fun of class D because everybody thought they were rejects and failures, and Pseudo is about to get in the fight. And then this is where Ichinose, she steps in, and this is where she gets introduced, actually, where we actually get her name dropped, and she ends up saving the day, so that's pretty interesting. And it's also introduced to Chabashiro Sensei that she holds information back a lot. And this isn't the first time that we'll see this in this series. However, for this specific scene, she held back information about the test information being changed, where they had to find out that that happened from Ichinose. And so what I like to call him Scheming Koji, because he schemes from the sidelines, and he schemes, and usually how it works is he notices something in the middle of the book and he's like, should I take action or not? And then pretty much the last chapter or so, or the last semi-chapter, sub-chapter, because they have like the chapters, then they have like 2.1, 2.2, etc. In the last chapter, let's say it's 8 chapters in the book, about 8.2, he explains his thought process and everything that led up to what he does. And so he went and he got the test information from an upperclassman, and he, like in the anime version, he let Kushida take all the credit so that he doesn't stand out. And then the test was the same. Pseudo, he still failed barely. He's failed by 0.2. Harita tried to lower her score so that, it could even stuff out. And Koji goes to Chabashiro Sensei saying the theme of is everybody created equal. He tries to buy the points. She allows him to. Harita comes in. They both split it 50-50. And it stops Pseudo's suspension just like in the anime version. And then at the end of the chapter, or the end of the book, Kushida, Ike, Yamachi, Pseudo, and Harita, they're all celebrating in Enya Koji's room. And that's pretty much the book. So this concludes book 1 of the Classroom of the Elite series. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, you get a lot of thoughts and inner thoughts from Enya Koji. More stuff goes into detail and stuff that is kicked out of the anime, which I really like because I think it's necessary, because some of the stuff in the anime seemed a little bit rushed. Like I said, they adapted dang near 4 books in 12 episodes. I think realistically, they could have done 2 books per season, and I personally enjoy it. Like I said, if you guys have the ability to, I highly suggest you guys purchase the books. They're really good, really entertaining. They're about 300-ish pages. Some are in the higher end of 300, and some are on the lower end, maybe the high end of 200, like 280, 290. So I read them whenever I get them. It takes me about 1 day to read, and I thoroughly enjoy it. But let me know what you guys think about the Classroom Elite Volume 1. What did you guys like that changed? What did you guys like that didn't change? I went into detail as much as I could. I didn't want to drag this video out. However, I just went over key points within each individual chapter. And if you guys like videos like these, I will be doing these once a week. For every book that's available. So for the next 8 weeks, you should expect a Classroom Elite review sometime out the week. I don't know, it might be the beginning, might be the end, just depending on how I'm feeling. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video from it. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.